So as of 2 hours ago, is it official that the World Health Organization has declared the 2024 Mpox surge? It is now a public health emergency of international concern. They are saying that the entire globe should be on alert for the spread of Mpox. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you what has come out in just the past 2 hours as this announcement has been made today, August the 14th, 2024. I'm going to be sharing with you the United States' response, various nations' responses to this as they are trying to contain this. Now, this is a new variant of the Mpox. This is not the same one that we saw in 2022, which is spread through intimate contact. This one is just through any type of touch. It is spreading and it is deadly, they're saying, to those that are the most vulnerable to falling to this illness, which would be small children, the elderly, those that are immune compromised. This could be deadly. Now, in addition to that, I'm going to be sharing with you what it is that they're saying on this, as they're saying it is currently contained to the continent of Africa, but there is great concern that this could spread further, and everybody is saying we do not want to see a repeat of 2020 and have another pandemic, but this time instead of COVID, it being Mpox. They're saying they're trying to get ahead of this. I'm going to be sharing with you what they're doing in forms of vaccination.
How is getting cash out still a thing?
I'm going to share with you the latest coming out on this. Now, I shared this with you, I think it was 4 or 5 days ago, as this was starting to spread across the news media outlets. This was starting to get a lot of attention. This new strain of the
Shalom. First thing and foremost, we give all praises and glory and honor to due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Rakakodash. I'm going to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and rule well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. News in this gospel broad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is a quick lesson through the Spirit. Here we go again. All right. They're talking about this Mpox. It says the WH or the WHO warns of deadliest strain of the MPOX. And we have to abbreviate it because just like they did in 2020, you know, they was taking down videos left and right because we was reporting on this information. So we might have to go back to the BitChute or the Odyssey again to report on this, because allegedly there's a national health emergency. As I'm watching Redacted, it says national emergency. Basically, they're declaring a so-called demic, possibly in the form of this here. Now, we said that they said it back in 2023, back in Davos. They said that, look, there was the year of the poly crisis, and poly goes into multiple. They were specifying that there was going to be another DMIC by the year 2025. And we're September, October, November, December, roughly 4 months short of the so-called new year. And here they talking about it again. This is the same thing they did back in 2019, 2020. And before you know it, lockdowns was here. And then like a year later, they was talking about, they actually expedited the emergency use of juice. Now, what I did find out is that months ago, this guy Kill Gates or Kill Bill already greenlit through Tedros and the W to the H to the capital 0 have already kind of greenlit an emergency use of juice regarding a particular new strain of whatever pestilence they were speaking about at that time. And I'm abbreviating it because you know how this devil gets. See, this guy, what's his dude's name? Steve Ram. He's able to speak on these things openly to some degree because, like I said, these guys are insiders. They're insiders and, you know, they're paid. But when it comes to us, we already have a bias towards us. So I couldn't say what he was saying. If I said exactly what this man was saying in this video, they would have been clipped this whole channel. Okay? But anyway, this thing is getting ready to crack. Things are getting ready to happen. And honestly speaking, this guy, Alex Skolenbaum, matter of fact, no, Putin mentioned, he said that they was going to try to plan another DEMIC prior to the selections, so therefore they can keep the current administration. So this could go many ways, man, because, you know, they don't want this guy DJ to assume office, which if he gets in office anyway, it don't matter. He's going to still, you know, it's the same ordeal. Okay, he's going to play ball. He's going to go on the script with you. He's going to go. He's not going off script. And he's going to do the same thing that the elites told him to do. So the script can go several ways, but more with this current administration, they already done fucked everything up. So with DJ, I mean, it takes a while to get things to falter, though it will. But I'm looking at it this way: if there's no election, then Biden remains president, which they may end up declaring that Biden passed away. They might finally come out with, and then this demon Kamala by default will become a new dictator, because once you have a national emergency, there can't be any elections, and especially under what they call a public health crisis. Clearly, nobody's going to be able to go to the polls and vote because, they're going to blame it on this ordeal. We got to be 6 feet apart and all this other shit. So I can see it going that way of keeping this current administration in there, because Kamala is not going to win the majority vote. She's just not going to win it. All right. I don't see her winning fair and square. So what other way of doing this is to keep her in there, or put them in there, is by suspending the election because of another global pandemic. I mean, that's possible. But like I say, we have to wait and see. That's going to piss a lot of people off too, man. So we're in a time of all hell breaking loose. 2025 is going to be a hell of a year, I'll tell you that, because 2024, this shit started with a bang, and it's been turning up every month. I'm excited, So call Allah Yahweh how shy, man. Brothers, prepare your minds, your spirits, because we don't know how far this is gonna go. Allegedly, they trying to get a hold on it, but they said the same shit back in 2024. Back in 2020, when this shit allegedly spread it to this side of the world. And another thing too, damn, I lost my train of thought. That's Satan. You have what they call gain of function. When they genetically create these things, and then they make them something outside of than what they normally was intended to do, because they tried it with the small, with the whole chickens and shit. People ate that up and debunked it, so they was like, nah, that ain't gonna work, because that was a pestilence that was not known to hit humans, from birds. But now all of a sudden, through their pseudoscience and their pseudoscience, I say it that way, somehow, some way, this shit has been jumping back and forth to humans, allegedly. Okay, so this is an article here. It says, warns of deadliest strain of you-know-what, but it says the you-know-who is weighing discussions on whether to declare an international public health emergency as the deadliest strain of Mpox spreads in Africa. Now, for one thing, Africa or China has always been a stumping ground for the elite's handiwork. Okay, same thing about with the Ebola back in 2014. They were declaring a public health crisis then, but allegedly it didn't spread to this side of the world, as they say. Now, with that being said, Esau's hatred of Hamites, he may just say, well, look, we can't contain this thing. We got it locked down again. And he can very well say that, because he's the devil, man. This is why we tell you Jakes out there, man, hey, you got to lock in. Okay, because let's just say if they do declare national emergency, they're going to come back with the mandates. You already know they already got juice for this shit already set up in the labs. You know what I'm saying? They already concocted it. They already created it. It's ready to go. They just have to scare you into submitting to it, which can come with economic collapse, civil war. Okay, it's just a lot of shit is going to go down at one time, man. Civil war, economic collapse, pestilence, famines, riots, martial law, soon to be a MOTB, and it's just gonna be a shit show, man. But anyway, it says why it matters. It says such and such in public health surveillance could control the virus, which is killing about 3% of those infected with new strain in Africa this year, spreading via sex. To the point, this devil weaponized sex, man. How does something spread through sex? Something that's supposed to be one of the most pleasurable things in the world, to bring forth life. You can't even have sex without you going to the spirit world. This man has totally put a strain on life, man. And this is all to set up an NWO. And one thing about it, people in America, they are highly sexualized. So, if this is the narrative, or if this is the route they want to go, I can very well see them using it. They can say, well, promiscuity or promiscuity among women, among heterosexual men. I say it that way because they don't blame nothing on moles. It's always the straight people that's the problem. But they can easily say, well, look, this is spreading. We need to contain people. We need to survey people, because Tedros was already talking about globally surveilling people. And if another ordeal found out that Biden, I believe he signed over the rights of the people to the WHO, meaning that in case of a national emergency, the WF or the WHO can come in and they can declare the particular security parameters in order to contain the alleged SPREAD of this thing, meaning they can deploy whoever they deem necessary, from martial law troops to lockdowns, imposing curfews on people. They can do all this shit if they want to, because basically these unelected officials have been hijacked into office, man. Okay? They even say with this guy Tedros, they say, is he even really a fucking doctor? Because how the hell is an unelected official going to declare any goddamn thing? So your whole government has sold you out already, man. So right there, they already telling you straightforward they're getting ready to do something. So it says here, the director, Tedros, wrote Sunday on X that he's considering convening an advisory committee to discuss whether an emergency should be declared. But he has no fucking jurisdiction. Okay, he has no type of knowledge. He's not a damn real guy. He doesn't know. You know, and since when do you have control over people's affairs? Who are you? But people gonna fall into it. They gonna get afraid. They gonna start threatening people's jobs. And this time they gonna, you know, this is gonna be one of the ones that you may see bodies drop, and then they gonna have to declare an emergency, man. This thing is finna turn up. It says it's previously known as the monkeypox has risen by 160% in Africa this year compared to 2023, according to the Africa Centers of you know what. But wait a minute, man. How are you declaring anything in Africa when you're, I think, like a European conglomerate or something of that accord? How the hell are you even over the affairs of people in different countries? Like, who give you that type of right and jurisdiction? It's crazy. But it says, while the vast majority of cases are in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, outbreaks have been reported in 15 countries. It says less than 1% of infected people died during a global mpox emergency in 2022. All right. So we don't know, man. This thing can very well go many ways. But then again, you go back to this article, May 11, 2023. It says it was no longer considered a health emergency. So it's like they all over the place with this shit. And you got this demon here, this guy that don't know what the hell is going on. Basically dangling a carrot. He's dangling a carrot, or as Elder Yashawamba say, dangling a hot link before you. And you jakes are walking right into the trap. But he says it's no longer a global emergency. But the Director General Tedros declared at a press briefing Thursday. So they don't know what the hell they want to do. But the scriptures speak of pestilence, famines, diseases, all this, you know. And we know that they concocted shit together, you know. And this is what Esau do. He concoct things and he problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. Because how do we know that this is really going on or not outside of what these unelected officials are telling us? But either way it go, who cares, man? Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is making moves, man. So this is a beautiful time to be alive. All right, so I looked up the word pestilence, and it came in the Bible, I think 46 times. Yep, 46 times. And I just did a quick search on pestilence and wanted to pull a couple of precepts here. Jeremiah 28:8. It says, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence, man. Pestilence goes into diseases, okay? Just like the C. Icky Vicky, you know, the MPOX, the what they call the Mossberg pump, I say it that way, Ebola, those are all considered pestilence, man. And the scriptures also speak of famine. All right. Jeremiah 29:17, it says, thus says Yahweh of hosts, behold, I will send upon them the sword, the famine, and the pestilence. So all these things are going to come simultaneously, because pestilence goes into famines, or swords leads into pestilence, diseases, and then diseases leads into famines. Because when you have famines or pestilence, that totally break down economic infrastructure to the point jobs are lost. People ain't going to work for the fear of getting sick. And then before you know it, the business collapse, and then inflation goes up, and then before you know it, you have a full-fledged famine. And it makes sense that a pestilence can bring about famine, because depending on how they sway this thing, they can say, well, look, we can't have anything coming into the city because it's too dangerous, and any outsiders can totally degrade us. So that can start a famine right there. Okay, going back into 2020 when those global supply chains were halted for those months. I mean, you still got ships sitting out there in the Pacific, man, that couldn't even dock in to unload their goods, you know? So they totally did a number on this place from 4 years ago. It's totally a different America, you know? And depending on what they do this time, if there is a selection, hey, the next 4 years, which Lord's will, we out of here sooner than that. It ain't gonna be no cakewalk. But it says, and I will make them like vile figs that cannot be eaten. They are so evil. All right. And I will persecute them with the sword and with the famine and with the pestilence, and will deliver them to be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth, which is just going into our people, to a curse and to an astonishment and a hissing and a reproach among all the nations which I've driven them, man. Okay. And like I said, I'm just going over particular scriptures here. You know, nothing in particular, because I mean the scriptures speak of pestilence. All right, Ezekiel 5, and I'm gonna start at verses 12. It says, a third part of these should die with the pestilence and with famine, and they should be consumed. And the worst way the scriptures say, it's better to perish by the sword than to die of pestilence or hunger or famine, because when you become famished, your body starts to eat itself from within. And it says, a third part of these should die with the pestilence and with famine, and they shall be consumed in the midst of thee, and a third part shall fall by the sword round about thee, and I will cast the third part into all the winds, and I will draw out the sword after them. And it says, and thus says, my anger shall be accomplished, and I will cause my fury to rest upon them, and I will be comforted, and they shall know that I am Yahweh, have spoken it in my zeal, when I have accomplished my fury in them, man. Okay? So this is the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. It don't have to make sense, but it's part of prophecy. You know? Going down to verses 14, and it says, moreover, I will make thee waste in a reproach among the nations that are round about thee, in the sight of that pass by. So it should be a reproach and a taunt and an instruction and an astonishment unto the nations that are round about thee, when I shall execute judgments in thee in anger and fury and furious rebukes. I, the Lord, have spoken it. And when I send them the evil arrows of famine, which they should, it says, which shall be for their destruction, and which I will send to destroy you, and I will increase the famine upon you, and will break your staff of bread, man. Okay, so that's the point. Pestilence, famines, all can lead into economic collapse, because right now, you pay attention, the staff of bread in America is being destroyed. It's being broken. I mean, they said inflation was up between 9 and 20% in some cases. It was at a point in time that a carton of eggs was costing motherfuckers $6, and that was for the basic shit, you know. Cage-free brown eggs, man, hey, $10. People was bugging out. Milk was like $5 a gallon. Cheese, bread, you know. I mean, they curbed it a little bit, but nonetheless, you still paying about $3 for a decent carton of eggs, which is too much money in my opinion. But it says, I will send upon you famine and evil beasts, and they should bereave thee, and pestilence and blood shall pass through thee, and I will bring the sword upon thee. I, Yahweh, have spoken it. So, this is prophecy. And remember, the men of the Lord have warned you first. Okay? And brothers, this ain't nothing to get all nervous about. You know, it ain't nothing to be all dismayed, because we understand and we've prepared our minds to walk away from this society, man. Okay? We've already prepared our minds. And just like the Lord got us out of the way of the first one, he gonna get us out of the way of this one, man. Okay? Just hold fast. Keep teaching. And hey, the Most High, he's gonna deal with us. Have faith. This is exciting times, man. So don't think about it like, damn, man, what if I lose my career? What if I lose my job? You can't be in that spirit. And if you in that spirit, pray, fast. Ask the Most High to give you a spirit of hasting to see this place destroyed. Because if you a man of the Most High, no matter what, he's going to take care of you, man. All right? The Lord is going to take care of his servants. And I'm 144% sure about that. Just like he took care of us during the first ordeal. Yeah, some of us got sick and, you know, had complications, but overall, you know, that was a test we passed, you know. And then when the MOTB is established, hey, he's going to get us out of the way of that. So it ain't nothing to fret about, man. You know, it ain't nothing to be afraid about. But, you know, it's just something to rejoice, because we getting ready to go home, Lord's will, soon. All right. 2nd Ezra 16, and I'm going to start at verses 17. Woe is me, who would deliver me in those days? Okay, verse 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. Remember, D-Mash had that vision years ago that he saw people dying in large numbers from some type of pestilence, man. He said people were convulsing in the streets, and we understand that the people that got the juice in them, somehow, some way, it can all start to come to light now, because I remember those what they call UV lights or black lights or something like that. They like blue lights. The military uses them, and out here in Kansas City, they still had quite a few up here, you know, mainly by the airport and shit. But a lot of people went down there and they drank the, you know, they got the Kool-Aid in them. So ain't no telling how this one is gonna affect, because with the 5G, 6G towers they're getting ready to erect, all of it playing a factor, it can totally just, you're basically like a fucking antenna right now. So they even mentioned, they said it's gonna affect certain people that have immune not comparability, but basically if your immune system has been compromised. And we know that a lot of people that took the J, that shot the J, which I believe like up to 75% of the people here in America took that shit. So that's more than half the population. So it makes sense as to if they are gonna do something and people do get jacked up from it, it makes sense because people didn't shot the J. You know, those of us that didn't do it, we was getting, you know, jacked up from the people that did do it, because it was a point in time for a whole year I suffered from being lightheaded and dizziness my whole year straight. I don't suffer from it no more, you know, due to detoxes and particular herbs and prayer and fasting and, you know, eating a lot better. But it's still, you know, I was fucked up for a whole year. I couldn't even be around a motherfucker that shot that shit. I get dizzy, lightheaded, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on? To the point that the Lord just took it away, you know? So those people that drank the Kool-Aid, hey, ain't no telling what this gonna do if they decide to do it, because whatever they doing is biological anyway, okay? We already know that it's created, it's man-made, and it was really, you know, it's through Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, but Esau is using this technology to create these things, man. So, hey, if you shot the J, then you probably have something to worry about, especially those of you in those other Israelite camps that shot that J. And, hey, one thing we can say is, hey, may the Most High do what he got to do. But it reads, it says, famine and great death. And no coincidence that this demon Kamala wants to take your weapons now. You got what is it called? Triagra or something like that. The Venezuelan prison gang. You got them over here. They taking over apartment complexes, armed militias. And she wants to take your rights from you in the midst of all this shit. And like I said, if it is a global emergency, depending on who's going to win this election, if they don't want Trump in there, they can just easily declare that. And by default, they can be like, look, Biden is not fit to take office. Kamala step up to the plate. So, I mean, shit, that's another way they can put this hoe up in there. And she ain't going to play nice, man. Because she damn sure don't like you Israelites. Especially after Jake is waking up to our bullshit. She ain't fucking with you, Jake. And somehow, some way, just like the first ordeal, they blamed it on blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They can blame this on you, too, because according to them, all niggas come out of Africa. See, you niggas got to be monitored. Setting up global surveillance in your neighborhoods, you know, martial law, they quarantining you in there, people banging on your door to put shit in you. You don't open the door, they kicking the door, guns drawn. And if you don't want to go, they're going to quarantine you and throw you in a prison camp. This is going to be a shit show, man. But it reads here, what shall I do when these evils come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent to scourges for a minute. But for all these things, they should not turn from their wickedness, nor always be mindful of their scourges, man. Okay? So, behold, victory should be so good, cheap upon earth, that they should think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. And for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead should be cast out as dung, and there shall no man be left to comfort them. For the earth should be wasted, and the city should be casted down. So yeah, brothers, I'm going to end it here, giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. Lord's will, you were edified. And